Hey everyone, I'm here today with my April book haul. I know we've still got more than a week left in April, but I'm hoping if I do this video now, I'll be less inclined to buy more books for the rest of the month. This month I bought 9 books, which is nowhere near as bad as March, but still pretty high. Although I did get most of them from my favourite secondhand bookshop, so I can't feel too guilty about that, right? Oh, I did just want to say before I forget, after my last video I passed 100 subscribers. I know that's such a teeny tiny number for most people, but for me it's such a big deal that even one person wants to listen to me blather on. So thank you so much if you took the time to subscribe. I'm looking forward to making more videos, which I hope you'll enjoy. So I'm going to start off with the 2 books that I bought new this month. The first book I bought, I'm pretty sure I'm the last person to own this, Ready Player One by Ernest Kline. If somehow you've missed everyone talking about this one, Ready Player One is the story of a futuristic Earth in rapid environmental decline. The ice caps are melting, there's been rapid economic downturn, the poverty and crime rates are really high, and Earth is basically an icky place to live. Because there's so many environmental and social problems, most people choose to spend the majority of their time inside the Oasis, which is basically an immersive video game. It's like a cross between every online multiplayer and the entire internet. Oasis was created by this eccentric video game designer named Halliday, and when he died, he left his entire fortune and ownership of the Oasis hidden inside the game in the form of an Easter egg. We follow the story of Wade Watts, one of the thousands of people who has dedicated their lives to finding and decoding the clues and puzzles that lead to Halliday's Easter egg. I've actually already read this one, so I'll talk about it more in my April wrap-up, but basically it's chock-a-block full of nerd culture references and a lot of fun. The second new book I bought this month is A Corner of White by Jaclyn Moriarty, and I have no idea why it took me so long to buy this book. Admittedly, I'm not that keen on the Australian cover, but I absolutely adore this one. It's this adorable, happy cover. It's got these super cute yellow end papers. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but the hardcover has this little embossing of an umbrella on it, and it's really cute. A Corner of White is actually in the genre of magic realism, which is quite different to everything else I've read by Jaclyn Moriarty, but it sounds interesting enough, and I love everything else she's ever written, so there's no chance I wasn't going to pick this one up. Jaclyn Moriarty, apart from being the first person who ever responded to fan mail I sent them, yes, I cried. Along with Melina Marchetta, basically revolutionised the way that I saw reading and the way that I saw young adult books when I was about 16, so I have a lot to thank her for. The first book I read of hers is called Finding Cassie Crazy, which I think is released in the US under the title The Year of Secret Assignments, which sounds super lame, but it was a really great contemporary YA read, so I recommend you pick that one up first. The rest of the books I got this month I bought from my favourite secondhand bookshop. I got these next 7 books for $20, and when you consider that one of them was $5, really I got 6 books for $15, which you really can't argue with. I just love Cooksville books, it's my happy place. Cirque to Freak by Darren Shan was probably my most impulsive purchase this month. I really don't know anything about it except what's written on the back, so I know that's kind of supernatural, a little bit scary. I think it's middle grade fiction. I've heard really good things about Darren Shan and the Cirque to Freak series. This is the first book in that series, and when I saw it for $82 in pretty good nick, I figured why not. The next book that I got could not be more different from a scary middle grade read. It's Maurice by E.M. Forster. I read A Room with a View earlier this year and just absolutely adored it, so I thought I should pick up some more of E.M. Forster's work. The main theme of A Room with a View is the struggle between convention and passion. The back of this book says that's a theme that carries through all of his work, and this is probably the strongest examination of that theme. The eponymous Maurice is a wealthy, successful and attractive Cambridge man who's forced to reevaluate himself and his place in society when he discovers that he's gay. This book was written in 1913 and seems way ahead of its time, so I'm really excited to read it and see how Forster handles subject matter that was pretty taboo at the start of the century. The next book I got is a teeny tiny paperback with a very long title, and that's Raise High the Roof Being Carpenters and Seymour An Introduction. This is now the 4th Salinger book I own, despite the fact I've only read one of them. I read and adored Catcher in the Rye a few years ago, so when I was at the Strand in New York I picked up Franny and Zooey and 9 stories for really cheap. I have read Zooey, but I haven't gotten around to any of the rest of the stories, so I thought I'd add to the pile of unread Salinger that I have. This includes 2 longer pieces of fiction similar to Franny and Zooey, although I think these ones have characters in common, whereas Franny and Zooey are 2 completely different sets of characters. I also like that all the Salinger editions I have this font and have the same cover front and back, which I really like for some reason. I think I'll probably read the other Salinger works before starting this one, but it was only a couple of bucks and it finishes off my collection nicely. The 6th book that I picked up this month was Fighting Ruben Wolfe by Markus Zusak. Most people have heard of Markus Zusak's 2 most recent works, The Messenger and The Book Thief, but before that he actually released this trilogy of really short YA contemporary novels. The 3 books centre around Cameron Wolfe, a teenager from a working class family in central Sydney. They examine themes of personality and self-determination in the face of social barriers, and I really love them. They are totally different to either of his other works, so don't go in expecting a book thief scenario, but I love them for what they offer. I've been trying to find copies of all of them with covers that aren't as ugly as this, but so far I've only been able to find this one, which is the 2nd title, and When Dogs Cry, which is the third one, which I think is also released as Getting the Girl. I've already read both of these ones as well. They're pretty light on plot and are mostly just character explorations, but you can really see Markus's writing style developing. If you like Markus's writing style, those beautiful descriptions, then I'd say definitely see if you can get your hands on these. The 7th book that I got is One-A-Pecker, Two-A-Pecker by Reef Park. I think this one is now released as The Frost and the Fire because they realised they'd included a hilarious euphemism in this title. Reef Park is an Australian author who wrote Playing Beady Bo, which is probably one of my favourite ever kids books. So I've been trying to find copies of her other works of fiction for a while now. This one is historical fiction set in the gold rush of the 1860s, and that's basically all I know about it. All I know is that I love her writing and I'm keen to read anything by her that I can. I think her other well-known novel is The Harp in the South, which I've been trying to find for a while now and not having too much luck with, but I hope it's out there somewhere. The last 2 books I bought this month, I'm gonna be honest, I'm probably not gonna read, but I always said I'm a book collector as well as a reader, so these are just being added to the collection. The first is this selection of writing by Benjamin Disraeli. Disraeli was a British Prime Minister towards the end of the 19th century as well as a writer, and this is a selection of some writings from his novels. The paper quality in this is really strange and has these horizontal lines running down every page, but I really love the cover of this. I also like how they've chosen to include the same design on the front and back of the dust jacket, as well as the front and back of the book itself. I guess it's such a beautiful design, they want to make sure they got their money's worth. Even though this is only printed in 1948, it's pretty fragile and the dust jacket's only being held on by a thread, so I probably won't be reading a lot of this, but I think it's a really beautiful cover to add to my collection. This last book is just so hilariously bad, I could not help but buy it. It's called Woman and the New Age of Colour and has these subtitles, Book Every Woman Should Read, and Every Man Also. I kind of thought this was going to be a book about women's rights and like comparing them to civil rights, but no. Let me just read you the text from the inside jacket. The author presents an entirely novel thesis. His theory is that major waves of colour vibration sweep through our Earth every 700 years, affecting certain nations only. The last European wave was objective, green. A new wave, subjective, blue, entered the Earth over 50 years ago. The objective wave was masculine, the new wave is feminine, and the feminine element is now coming to the forefront in world affairs. Women, thinking subjectively, will now displace man in activity and will raise the vegetable kingdom into the psychic realm. It's literally about how colour waves will make women the dominant force in the world. What? Yeah, this is definitely going in the I will never read this, but my god, I had to have it pile. So that's the end of my April book haul. Some books I've already read and loved, some books I'm never gonna read, but they're all adding to the pile of books that won't fit on my shelves because there's no room. Ah, the life of a book lover. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!